What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel as well as another video. So in this video, we're going to go ahead and continue on with our front end makeover that we started on this 2012 Street Glide. If you were around for the last video, you would have seen we went through and painted up the forks, got those looking good, put new bells on them, and we also installed these Dominator Cycles 12-inch apes here. They're all wired up, brake line's in, clutch cable is in, they are ready to go, so we're all set there. Next thing that we have to concentrate on is going to be upgrading the audio system in this thing. If you're familiar with the audio systems in these older Harleys, they come through with a rather run-of-the-mill deck and pretty crappy speakers. So I went through, did a little digging on the internet, found probably the best, I think what's going to be the best solution to rectifying that situation, and that is the Aquatic AV digital media player here. It is a true plug-and-play system for Harley Davidson motorcycles, so that is going to be a big load off. We don't have to do half as much work to make it work. And then as far as the speakers go, I went with the 6.5-inch Kenwood Excelon speakers. These are actually designed for a direct replacement for 2014 and up Harley motorcycles. And you might be saying, well, this is a 2012, so how's that going to work? Well, these come through as a 6.5, and the 2012s come through with a 5.25 speaker. So I went on the internet again, and I found on Amazon some resizing brackets that will allow me to make these 5.25 holes except the 6.5-inch speaker. So we should be good there. That's going to give me a little bit better sound, higher wattage. Incidentally, this radio is putting out 288 watts of power, which should be more than enough to drive these speakers. They are 2 ohm speakers, 2 ohm output here, over 4 channels, so it's pretty good. It should drive these things, make them sound fairly decent, and this shouldn't overwork to really produce the sound that we're looking to get out of this. Now, we also have a bunch of other stuff to add on to this thing. I have a lot of other bolt-on stuff to do to the front end as well, but we'll go through and get the radio out of the way first. So let me get set up here, and we're going to start taking some of this junk out and replacing it with some much needed better equipment. So, all right, let's get doing it. What do you say, Jim? Let's do it. Let's do it. With all that old junk removed, we're now ready to start putting the new stuff in. The radio is going to be easy. That should be just slide it right in there. 4 bolts here on either side of these brackets. Plug it in. We're ready to go. But the speakers here are going to be a different story. So the Kenwoods came with these really nice grill covers here that would work perfectly, I'm sure, with a 2014 and up Harley. These factory speakers came with this, like, I don't know, it's like a nylon mesh kind of blocker, just to kind of keep water and whatever off of the speaker. I'd like to incorporate these into the fairing because I think they'll look really good. So I think if I do some trimming, this piece fits definitely way, it's way too big for that piece, for the fairing, but I think I can trim it down, and if I did that, that would give me something that looked like that. Now, you can still see through these speaker holes, or the holes in the grill, because they're rather large. But if I also incorporate this piece on the back of the grill, I'll have to do a little forming and bending and shaping and whatnot. But I'm going to put that in there with that grill cover. That will give it a very nice look. So you'll see those aftermarket covers, and you won't see the speaker because the speaker also sits further in, again because it's that 5 1/4 to 6 1/2 bracket. This side here will be sitting against the fairing, and then the speaker will kind of sit like that. So we have some serious gap going on there anyways, and with the speaker being off center to the hole, that would look kind of trashy if you looked through there and actually saw it. So my hopes is to incorporate all this stuff together. It's kind of hard to do this one-handed, but to make it so that you do not see the speaker through the grill cover. So I'm going to get a little creative here. I'm going to start bending and twisting these speaker grills into place. I'm going to try to get one set in and see how it all goes, and then see what we got here. The other thing too is this bracket that kind of holds everything together. It acts as a kind of like a stiffener on this side. That has to be there. Like, I have to have that there. That can't be taken out of there because it's kind of needed. It will mount to that bracket, but I have a feeling the way the bracket's going to sit here, this resizing bracket, I might have an issue here, and it looks like it's probably going to bottom out before it actually hits the piece. So worst comes to worst, I might have to go in here with a cutoff wheel or a grinder and lose just a little bit of that bracket to make it sit 100% the way I want it, because I have a feeling it's going to sit out. I don't know for sure, but as I start putting these pieces in here, we'll kind of figure that out. So let me get working on that, and I'll get back to you and show you what I got when I get it done. Looks pretty sweet, if I do say so myself. Everything fits wonderful in there. There are zero gaps. It's nice and tight. Radio looks really nice in there. This is a really nice head unit. I haven't had a chance to really mess around with it too much. I just popped it in there and kind of made sure I had a speaker that was working. Yeah, working pretty decent. I think it's going to be a good addition. I was able to get everything to work. I was able to put that original piece there that was in the speaker, plus the grill. I had to do a little cutting and chopping and massaging, if you will, to get everything flattened out and get it all fit. And then I drilled holes and got my speaker in there. I didn't have to do anything with this bracket. It clears it by very, very little. I thought it might change the positioning, being that the speaker's larger, but it didn't do anything. I just loosened the bolt, slid the bracket down just a little bit, and good to go. So with that being said, ready to go ahead and do this one here. So let's go ahead and get this thing done so we can wrap it up and hear what this stereo actually sounds like. All right, let's do it. Alright, and everything's all tightened up, ready to go. Man, those things look sweet. You'd almost swear to God those are factory speakers. Radio looks good. Everything looks decent. I did crank it up a little bit. I'm not trying to get a copyright infringement here, but I'll find a file here in a little bit so that I can play this so you can at least hear how it sounds before we're finished with it. But I need to put this all back together because I'll tell you, it really does take away from the sound quality when you have this thing open. I mean, it does still crank, but you get way better sound quality out of this thing when it is covered with the top of the cover on there. That it really seals up everything, kind of makes the bass reverberate a little bit better, and just makes everything sound that much cleaner. So as soon as I get this back together, we'll go ahead and do that. But I do have some other stuff that we're going to need to do here in this front end to get this buttoned up. So I'm going to go ahead and get set up here, and we're going to continue on with that. All right, let's do it. So one of the big things that I really miss about the Road King, comparatively speaking, when looking at this, is the fact that the Road King had the passing lights. I enjoyed having those on there. They looked really good. They looked kind of classy, you know. This bike does not have those, and, you know, it's something just missing right here. So I went on the internet and I found some blacked out combination passing and directional lamps here. So these things I think are going to fit the bill for what I'm trying to do. The only problem is they come wired up with a different connector, a much smaller connector. Must be for a newer style bike, because if you look at some of the years here that this thing covers, a lot of them are newer. And this is what I'm dealing with for a connector for the blinker right now. So I'm gonna have to do a little cutting and chopping and swapping of connectors, but I think we can do this. The other thing too is I'm going to try to tap into, for the actual passing lights, we have this accessory switch that nothing is being used on right now. It has a bulkhead connector that connects into it, runs it back down the bike to the fuse block, and then gives you an open area to be able to hook into there. So then you'd have to go all the way back up through under the gas tank and everything and run all your wiring to all this stuff, you know, back up through there. I think we can kind of go in here and steal power off that, and we should be good. I'm gonna go ahead and give that a try, run the test light over it, make sure it's good to go, and if that's the case, I'm gonna swap some of these connectors around, and because these are, I don't really care about these anyway, and see what we got here. If I can just make these things work independent off the accessory switch and then tie my directionals back into this original harness, I'm going to be a happy guy. So let me get set up here, do a little testing, see what we got, get these things mounted on the bike, see how they look, and hopefully move forward into putting this thing back together and starting to move our way back. So wish me luck here, and let's see what we got. So I think we got this figured out. We are going to tap into this accessory wire here on the back of this switch. I'm going to run a little lead here. Already started making up our harness lead here that's going to plug directly into these wires that are coming off the back of this light. Did have to do a little bit of cutting here in order to get a relief for my wiring to go through the front here so it won't interfere with the forks. But everything is looking really good. Got these soldered up here, made our own little harness, and took the old connectors off the old lights, incorporated them into these new lights, and everything looks pretty much good to go. I'm gonna get these things onto the bike, get them wired in here, put all this stuff back together, and cross my fingers and pray it all works. And if it does here, I'll get back to you and show you what I got. All right, let's do this. Okay, and they are on the bike. These things look really sweet. I'm very, very happy. Glad I went with this. You know, just gives it that little extra that it did not have before. They look nice, made it up to the forks. I got to change out these bolts. I got different bolts there, and the fairing is just kind of sitting on there. I don't have it tightened up because I have to go in and put the headlight and all that stuff in and tighten up all these wires, zip tie them. But let me kick on the driving lights so you get a quick idea of exactly what they look like. Decent, looks really nice. Gives it that extra, you know, just gives it that little bit of extra. So, all right, let me go ahead. I'm gonna put this stuff back together, tighten everything up, give this thing a quick wipe down, and we'll see the finished product. Well, if that's not a transformation, I don't know what is. This thing came out absolutely amazing looking. Everything flows nicely. Headlights back in, got that painted ring in there. Changed out my blinkers to the LEDs here in the front and the smoked lenses. That was not without its own little set of problems. So if anybody is looking to purchase this set of driving lights for their bike, just be aware that you're going to run into a few little issues if you're trying to do what I just did there. So these came through with their own LEDs and this amber colored lens that goes on the front here. So went to go in and unplug them, just like your factory setup would be here. Unplug the light, pull it out, and went in there and looked for the plug, and there was no plug. The reason why there was no plug is these are hardwired into the actual assembly itself, which is terrible because how do you change the bulb? How do you let's say one of these dies out, like what do? You can't, there's no serviceability there. And the problem is, so what we ended up doing was we cut the wires. We actually ended up cutting them right back, right at the connector here, right in these solder points. And we ended up having to solder, cut the leads off of the new LEDs, which kind of sucks, and then solder those things in. And I'll tell you, I have rather large hands, so we had like about an inch worth of room to join these wires together. And in case you haven't noticed, these things are not very big wires, so that was extra work that I was not anticipating. However, they do look really, really nice, and they light up exactly the way that I want them to. You get the little halo. You're probably not going to be able to see this in the video. There's the halo there, and then when you go for the directional, you get that nice amber colored or yellow directional like you're supposed to behind the smoked lens. So that looks fantastic. I'm very, very pleased with the way this came out. On top of that, just luck would have it, as I was kind of working on this, look what showed up. So I'm set here and ready to go to finish this off completely. So these are the levers that I bought. These are a gloss black with the kind of finger grip. If anybody's watching any videos in the past on the Road King, same exact setup as what I had on the Road King, only in black. They don't have the same ball on the end. It's kind of a little bit of a different design, but that'll work, and I'm sure they're going to look great. And then I also went with the Harley Davidson grips. These are made by Rizoma. These were far more expensive than I really wanted to spend, but the way I look at it is, if you're going to spend money on one part of the bike, I mean, what's one part of the bike that really never is not being touched when it's being ridden? And that would be the grips. Your hands are always on the grips when you're riding, and you don't want to cut corners there. So that's going to be the last thing that I need to do here to finish off this front end. So I'm going to go ahead and change out these levers and these grips, and then we'll take one final look at it, and I think we can call this front end makeover complete. So let me go ahead and get these things done, and we'll see what they look like. that was exactly what it needed. Man, those things look sick. Very, very happy with these grips. Super high quality. The aluminum is very nice that they're made out of. Everything is like laser etched into it. The finish on these levers, perfect. Couldn't really ask for anything better. And they just complete that whole look now. When you look through at the front of the bike, looks really good. All right, as promised, I'm going to fire up this radio so you can get a feel for exactly what the sound system sounds like. I found a file that I've used before that's not copyrighted, so we should be good there. I'll kick it on, and you can hear exactly what this thing has. Now, keep in mind, this is just an internal amplifier on the deck itself. There is no amplifier additional to this, so pretty decent, I think. We will get a feel for it so you can see exactly what it is. All in all, not bad. That volume was up to 10 out of like a possible 30 or 40, something like that. And I did have the extra bass kicked on, so it gives a little bit more punch on some of those kind of hard-hitting songs. So, yeah, I'd say stick a fork in this thing because the front end is complete. We are done here. Next is going to be to start moving further back. I have some crash bars that are going to be going on here. We have floorboards. We have air cleaner. We have, I didn't want to let the cat out of the bag just yet, but we have an exhaust on order. I just can't. If I'm going black, I got to get rid of as much of this chrome as possible. So, and there's a few more things that I'm going to be taking off of this bike and painting and converting over to black, but that's going to be in upcoming episodes here. So stay tuned. That's all I can say. All right, we're done for now, though. And with that, that's going to bring this video to a close. Make sure you join me in the next video when we continue on with this thing. Front end's looking really good. Front end is now complete, but we have so much more stuff to bolt onto this thing. I have so many more things that I want to do to it in order to finish it off and really make it look like what I want. Yeah, stay tuned. It's going to be one heck of a ride when it's all finished. If you haven't already, do me a favor, give me that thumbs up, subscribe, as well as hit the bell for notifications so you know when more videos like this are going to be coming out. And as always, keep the shiny side up, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.